Tell me about a different world that maybe you reside in with recruits or funding or what have you when it comes to coming off such an amazing season last year en route to a national championship game appearance.
Yeah, it's been a hectic year. I mean, we didn't get finished playing until pretty late in January, and then with today's college football calendar, man, it never slows down much. You go straight into transfer recruiting, and then all of a sudden it's spring football, and then back on the road recruiting again, and camps and official visits, and man, it just never stops. So it's been a hectic year. It was a great year. Obviously, we know there's a lot of exciting things happening right now at TCU. We just fundraised for a brand new a building for our student athletes. It's going to be really cutting edge technology stuff to help in recovery and in injury prevention and some really pretty cool stuff. And so, we're excited about what's going on. The recruiting has certainly improved and gotten better. We felt like we had a really good transfer class of players that came in January. Also had some good high school players who graduated early and enrolled in January as well. And got the rest of our guys here over the summer. And, right now watching summer workouts and just kind of getting ready to get started. But it's an exciting time.
It's fun to have college football back. Fun to see the Big 12 having rebounded so well. We had you booked on this spot before your comments yesterday, so I don't want it to feel like I'm trying to jump you here, but you were critical of realignment and schools that might jump to new conferences and not have the same success, say in Missouri that went to the SEC and others. So I did want to ask you a question. If TCU said, we've got a bid to go to the SEC, we want to go, would you say no, don't do it?
Well, I think it all depends on, what you're looking for. And look, man, I'm not really critical of anybody. I think every school has to sit back and they have to say, what ultimately are we, is important to us, and what are our values and what matters. And I think in the college football world right now, sometimes the only thing that any of us consider, and look, coaches are probably the worst of this, of the entire bunch. The only thing that I think sometimes people consider is money, and how does it affect money and all that. Well, sometimes when you just look at the bottom line, student athletes all of a sudden are the ones that are suffering because, they're the ones that are going to have to take a plane ride from Los Angeles to New York or to New Jersey to go play a volleyball game, and so, all these things get lost in the shuffle a little bit, and it becomes just about money. I like where we are in our league. I think we fit geographically. I think it's good for our fans. I think it's good for our players. We get to play against people that our players get to play against people that they played against in high school. There's natural rivalries. There's all the things to me that make college football great and make it unique. And sometimes those things get kicked to the curb a little bit, for the almighty dollar. And so, like I said, I'm not critical of anybody. Everybody has to do what they have to do. The one thing that you go back and you look at the history of it, Missouri had a lot of success in the Big 12. Well, when they went to the SEC, they also, played a couple of Big 12 or SEC championship games as well. So, there are reasons for doing things. I think sometimes, again, I wish that institutions would look at what the student athletes like and what's important to them and their experience and consider those factors along with the financial part of it as well.
So I agree with everything you said there, but I have to say I find it very hypocritical of a head coach to talk about this because let's just take TCU. They were in the Mountain West. They go to the Big 12, and coach's salary skyrocketed. I mean, Andy Avalos is making 1.6 at Boise State. They got maybe the deepest resources in the conference, and you're making $5 million a year. So would you really take that much of a pay cut just to say, well, geographically we fit better here? I mean, you're the one that's benefiting as much as anybody financially by going to a bigger conference.
Yeah, I mean, look, we all get paid. I think the one thing I've learned, you're worth what someone's willing to pay you. I think that's the great lesson that we learn as we get a little bit older. I think we all think, hey, I'm entitled to this or I'm entitled to that. Well, you're entitled, your value is worth what somebody's willing to pay for you. And so that's been a lesson that I've had to learn going through the years. Look, my first job was at Louisiana Tech, and we were in the Mountain West, or the WAC at that time. And, I made $400,000 a year. And, which was plenty to live on. I mean, well, I wasn't just scraping by. I was ecstatic about making that kind of money. So look, I didn't get into coaching for the money. I was a high school coach. I was an English teacher. I coached for 2 years at Navarro Junior College for $4,000 a year. I mean, I would be coaching right now, regardless of my salary. And I think there's a lot of us in our profession that are that way. I mean, you look around the Big 12, a lot of these coaches have come up through the ranks. I mean, these guys, weren't born on third base. I mean, they had to go to these small institutions and work their way up. And I think the big thing that we all want is we all want to play on a big stage. And, the thing is, you can play on a big stage in the Big 12. I think it's pretty clear. We played for the national championship last year. Now we got our tails kicked, but we played for the national championship. And so, like I said, everybody's got to decide what's best for them and what's important to them and what matters. And if it's all money driven, then make money driven decisions. And if it's not, then consider other things as well.
But aren't those decisions, playing on a big stage, ultimately money driven? Like when schools say we're going to go to this conference, their hope is that extra revenue pushes them to the next level. When a coach goes to a school in a bigger conference, they're looking for more revenue from the school for recruiting, for their facilities, et cetera. Isn't all intertwined? I mean, using morality and ethics of like you should do it for the love of the game, who's really doing that when it comes to schools making moves, including TCU themselves?
Well, I mean, like I said, I think, the good thing about additional revenue is it's obviously additional resources, and it's additional resources for your student athletes, whether it's, more staff, whether it's better staff, whether it's technology and things that you can use to maximize their performance, but also, most importantly, keep them safe and sound. As I said earlier, I mean, the question was posed, would TCU make the jump to the SEC if given the opportunity? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think, probably. I'm guessing probably they would, but I think I think we can accomplish everything that we want to accomplish in the Big 12. I think we're completely satisfied with where we are in the college football world. I mean, you look at our programs here, we're the only team in the history of college athletics that went to the college football playoff in football, the college World Series in baseball, and the NCAA tournament in basketball. So, when you look at across our programs, and that's not even talking about our national championships that we won in tennis and all the things that we're ranked in the top 10 in or top 5 in, I mean, we're in a pretty good spot. I mean, we can accomplish the goals that we need to accomplish. Our players are well taken care of. We've got great facilities. And so, we're in a really good spot, and we think that we have a chance to, year in and year out, compete for a conference championship. And so, we feel pretty good about our chances. And when the college football playoff expands to 12 teams, you're not going to see 6 or 7 teams from one conference in the college football playoff. And so I think everybody has to sit back and evaluate where do they fall in the world and what's their slots and can they be competitive if they make a move to a super conference, and how's that going to affect, their chance to compete for championships? Because some teams that have made moves to other conferences that have had success historically have sometimes had a difficult time in those conferences. And so you just got to decide what's important to you and what's best for your program.
That's all fair points, and I appreciate you answering all those questions directly. I do want to ask you about your football team, because you guys will open up against Colorado, but you will enter a Big 12 that's reconfigured, 4 new schools, 2 on their way out, so a deeper conference than you've had in recent years. How do you feel coaching your guys, taking on kind of a brand new look Big 12 of this season?
Yeah, it's certainly going to be different. I mean, you look at I coached at the Big 12 from 2000 to 2007 at Texas Tech, and at that time the Big 12 was much different. Texas A&M was in it, Missouri was in it, Colorado was in it, Nebraska was in it, and so it was a different Big 12 than there is now. There's been a lot of movement, between conferences and teams bouncing around. Obviously, Texas and Oklahoma move out, 2 of the biggest brands in the conference, just in terms of eyes and fan support. But the good thing is we're moving some other schools in that have had a lot of success. And I think they may not be traditional powers, but they have everything it takes to become a really good football school. And they've got, great fan support, great investment. They have a great recruiting base. I mean, you look at Central Florida, you look at Houston, you look at Cincinnati. Those three schools have a tremendous recruiting base, and then you add BYU, who recruits nationally, and they have their own niche, and they do an outstanding job with that. And so you've got four schools that can recruit at a very high level, that are in big metropolitan areas that attract a lot of attention. I think Central Florida has the second largest enrollment right now in college, in college football. And so, there's going to be a lot of interest from those places. Again, they're kind of all newcomers to the block in a lot of different ways, but, they've all had a lot of success in football and in other sports as well. So I think they're going to be really good additions to the league. I think it's going to make our league even deeper. I think when you look at our league right now, the thing that's unique about the Big 12 is whoever's the worst team in the league can beat whoever's the best team in the league. And I don't know that there's many conferences that you can say that. And so I like our league. I think it's solid from top to bottom. I think we're in a good spot. We've got tremendous leadership from our conference commissioner, Brett Yormark. I think is one of the bright minds in college football. And so I think we feel really good about where we're positioned, and it's going to be a challenging year. There's a lot of good teams in the league. I know a lot of teams are going to be much improved, and our challenge is to build off what we did last year. It was a good year for us. We went 13-2. We had some good things happen. We lost, a Big 12 championship game that we felt like we had a great opportunity to win, and then we got blown out in the national championship. And so, there's a lot of things that we can learn from those losses, and a lot of things that we can learn from our success last year. And you have to figure out how to make those adjustments and try to do it all over again.
Sonny Dykes and TCU coming off the national championship appearance. And as he said, good times at the TCU athletic department, a lot of success across a lot of different programs. And the Big 12 is wrapped up, Big 12 Media Days, so a lot of fun talking about the conference over the course of this week. Sonny, I appreciate you answering the line of questioning. I appreciate your time this morning, man. Good luck this season.
No, thanks for having me on. Appreciate it. It's always good talking to you, and look forward to catching up again soon.
Right on. Sonny Dykes joining us this morning here on the show. And